Welcome, everybody who is listening right now. As you have noticed, probably if you are a returning viewer, we have no video today. And let's see, whose fault is that, Alejandro?
It's my fault. I'll be honest. Here. That was totally my fault. Not gonna lie here.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird episode. We are currently in someone else's house. We're in my girlfriend's house. I'm watching her dog for the weekend or for the week, and yeah, we're just having a good time, having a kind of a chill talk today, because of the two of us. We're just gonna shoot the shit.
Just the two of us.
We can make it if we got. All right.
Let's not forget about our special guest today, Iggy.
Iggy, yes, the dog. He will probably be barking. You will probably hear him. But to introduce the show, this is MDRM Games, a show about games, the community that surrounds them, and the underlying philosophies that drive them. We post every Tuesday around 8 p.m. Eastern. If you could toss us a subscription, a like, that would promptly remove us from the slums of YouTube, and we would greatly appreciate that. And we're now doing this on Twitch, giving this a try.
We're gonna see how today's trial run goes as far as broadcasting, because I forgot the camera. My fault.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're trying new things. Why not?
Have some fun with it, you know.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so basically, as we always do, we're gonna start off with what are we playing. But before we get into it, I want to get Mateo's little blurb here kind of out of the way, because it's very long. So you're going to want to sit back, close your eyes,
and just let the cool tones take you over.
Because he's playing Persona 5.
Of course he is.
And that's all he's been playing. Here's his little blurb about it. All right. Imagine it's October 1961. It's a bit rainy out, but you manage to make it to a club with a sign adorned above its sun-kissed maroon overhang that reads Vanguard in bright red letters. From the outside, you can hear the pulsating rhythm of one of your favorite jazz standards. Only the bass managing to break the boundaries of the door and leak out onto the street like the rain flowing into the sewer drain not 15 feet away from you. You walk in and you can hardly see through the thick smoke mask coming from the diners, already well into their second bottle of gin or some variety of libations. Alice in Wonderland, with Bill Evans on the piano, Paul Motain on the drums, and the late Scott LaFaro on bass. LaFaro could maneuver the neck of a bass unlike anyone you'd ever seen up until this point. His playing had a wistful grace about it, paired with a severity so heavy that it threatened to collapse the building on itself. You're in awe. Your jaw is practically below the neckline of your shirt. A deep connection to the music grows within you. This is what Persona 5 soundtrack is like. It features some of the absolute sweetest bass lines to ever grace the earth. This is some Stanley Clarke level shit. Anytime a new track comes on, my spine tingles and I feel the neurons firing off in my brain as a rush of blood reaches my face and I am blush from sheer excitement. Listen to that battle music. Focus in on that bass. And tell me that you do not see the face of whatever god allowed that funky shit to be created. Music can truly bring about emotions and euphoria unlike any other medium of expression. The combat's pretty good too.
The combat's pretty good, too.
Yep. Well, that was Mateo's reading on Persona 5. I'm sure he's loving it. Sounds like it, anyway.
No, I gotta agree with Mateo.
You've been playing that too, right?
Yeah, not too much, sadly. I haven't gotten too far into it, but from what I have played, it's very how do I put it? It's very good at bringing into its universe. You know, you get really sucked into the style of. You really care, you know, about the characters. I think is a good way to put it, and you care about like seeing how this adventure plays through, seeing how everything goes through. So,
see, I played a bit of Persona 4, and like, I was like, what is this wacky shit with TVs and a murder and mist, and what the fuck is going on? I don't know. It didn't click with me too much, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not, as I have said to you 1.5 million times, fuck turn-based. I hate it. I can't get into it. I have a really hard time with it. I couldn't even play Pokemon. I was like, what the hell's going on?
I think Persona's strength is that the combat, while it's kind of simplistic, the idea of it where you just kind of pick on opponents' weaknesses, do like the gang up attacks, things like that. It's very easy to approach, but there's also like that deep strategy and methodology to it that kind of engrosses the player into trying to get this perfect rhythm going for each fight and encounter to get into. So, and I've noticed that too, that it's never that simple, especially with Persona 5, where the new element of a gun, which I believe was borrowed from another Persona game from someone told me earlier.
I have no idea. But
either way, the gun kind of changes up the whole aspect of it, because now instead of just going to Persona abilities and just straight up, hack and slash combat, you can now use your gun, target a singular enemy, and shoot bullets up into a certain point. I think it's time wise, like it's up to like 5 seconds. Or in the midst of those two things, you can switch back and forth to different enemies. So you can go like between like 3 or 4 enemies, and see who gets knocked down by the weakness, and then follow up with a different attack. So that new gun mechanic kind of adds a whole new layer of depth to the gameplay, and I really enjoy that. And like Mateo wrote and said, the music.
See, all right, I have like, as far as the themes go, I mean, it looks really stylish, the game and everything, but like as this like huge jazz dork, I feel like I need to play this game just for that, or just like buy the soundtrack and listen to it. Because like the whole, like I watched the trailer, I was like, what the fuck's going on with this dude in like a flaming mask and he's laughing and shit. But like the music is so good.
The music is
it's I love it. It's awesome, and I really want to hop in for that. And Mateo texts me, and he's like, dude, you gotta play Persona, man. Like it's like the best story of it, like in a video game, some next level shit. And I was like, yeah, but the music though, that's the
music. It's all about the music.
And I know he's all about that music too.
Quick shout out, real quick, to Smile and Dominator, B Stone, Cannibal, I believe, is in here too. Thank you guys for hanging out and watching, or rather listening to this podcast today. New stuff, new grounds, just want to throw it out there. And Reptar Lover, as we know.
Reptar Lover. That's my boy right there. Anyway, okay. So what have I been playing? I've been playing like a metric fuck ton of Mass Effect Andromeda. Look, all right. I just want to put this out there for everybody listening. Stop like harboring on the facial animations. Seriously, the facial animations, like they, first of all, they patched it, which we're going to talk about later.
We're going to get into that whole discussion.
Later in the episode. And it does look better, but if you can get past some wonky graphics, which, like, if you played Fallout 3 or if you played any of the old RPGs of yore and like you didn't really give a shit about it then, you shouldn't give a shit about it now, because this game's great. It's like a super well contained story, even though like the ending is definitely sequel bait. Sorry if that's a spoiler. I'm not going to get too heavy
too much away there.
No, I'm not going to get really into spoilers. And for Mass Effect, you have to expect it at this point. But no, the game is great. I'm very excited because I'm working, like I've said to you a couple times, I'm working on a new video that is going to be, I'm going back and I'm going to play Mass Effect 1. I brought it over. I'm going to pop it in the 360 and I'm going to try and play through the whole series so that I can get like more of a scope on the series and talk about like, how Mass Effect Andromeda like really stands up to it. Because I know that's a big complaint of people in the community, is that it doesn't match up with the rest.
Yeah, of the series as a whole. Which, it's not even a fair comparison, though, just because, I mean, from what I've seen, the gameplay is somewhat different, but it's a little bit more modernized, a little bit more brought forward.
Dude, the combat in that game is
it looks smooth.
Unreal.
It looks buttery smooth,
It's so fun.
Like if you took a piece of toast and a nice like glob of like,
butter. Yeah,
can't believe, this ain't real butter.
Yeah,
but,
and then you put it in your mouth, it just tastes like butter. Yeah, tasty. But yeah, that game is just, I beat it last night. And I feel like really sad that it's over. It was one of those things that it gave me the message, like, are you sure you want to embark on like the final quest? And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. I'm doing this. But it was tinged with a little sadness.
A little bit of sadness.
How
long was your playthrough?
My playthrough, just through the main quest, is pretty short. I didn't do too many side missions. A couple character missions I did here and there. But It was about 18 hours, something like that. But I'm definitely going to put more time into it and do a lot of the side quests and
what I like
post-game
is,
stuff.
From what you're saying, you said 18 hours roughly,
Mhm.
right? I would totally play that, honestly, just because that's my difficulty with playing like games like Persona or The Witcher is that you have to invest hours of your day into it.
I get so tired of games really quick. I wish that I could play. I mean, the only game that I've ever been able to do that is Dark Souls. I don't know why. It just clicks with me. But yeah, no, I can't play games like that. Like just straight like for like 100 hours.
Yeah,
it's not usually
difficult.
my thing. So it was nice getting through that campaign, and like I was like with going in with the intent, I'm just gonna play the main quest and see what it's about. But now I really do want to explore all the planets, like set up new colonies, get really close with all the characters, probably bang a few aliens. That's what I want to do. Like I said earlier, I was so fucking pissed that that one rejected me.
You're Cersei girl. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. What are you talking about? Cersei. It was Marjorie Tyrell.
Okay.
Oh my
apologies.
God.
Okay. Yeah,
the second hottest character in that show.
Okay, you're okay. That's fair.
To Daenerys, of course.
Mm-hmm. Daenerys,
the queen.
Yeah, little
queen
little
of
gold
fire.
Dany. Yeah,
my baby. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been playing. I also played a little bit of David Jaffe's new game this morning. I don't know if you heard about it. It's called Drawn to Death.
I've heard of it, and it's free for us right now, isn't
yes,
it? On
it
PS
is.
Plus.
It's free on PS Plus, and holy shit, it's actually really fun.
Is it?
It's a competitive shooter. Do you know the premise of it?
I do not.
Basically, what it is, like I said, it's a competitive arena shooter where you play as these like characters in a high schooler's notebook that he's like doodling in during class. And so it looks like characters on a page of a journal.
So like not drawn to life, but the concept is similar in that kind of regard.
Yes.
And you're saying it's a competitive shooter?
It's a competitive shooter, yeah.
Huh.
It's a third-person competitive shooter.
Okay, you sold me on third person.
Third person. We should play it together.
We can get it tonight. I can just download tonight.
Oh fuck yeah! Let's play some together.
Some
Drawn to Death. It's and you know who David Jaffe is, right?
Not a clue.
Okay, he's the guy. He was the lead director on the God of War series and Twisted Metal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we got a guy with higher marks.
So
there.
it's like a good quality game. It's not just it's not saying anything bad about indie games. I love indie games, but it's not just an indie game.
Yeah. That's its sole heart and purpose. And
I'm hoping that it kind of gets pushed because of the PS Plus free thing. Kind of like
I think it will. It'll absorb pretty strongly into the community, and they're going to be very open to playing it because PS Plus members all the time complain that like the past few months, upwards of 6 months now, have been really dry of good titles.
Right.
I think that's not fair, considering that I know that they started off strong when PS Plus started. They definitely wanted to throw out a lot of like AAA games in the free mix.
I got Resident Evil on there. Same as Journey. I got Journey on there too.
Yeah. And that's the thing though. Like, yeah, of course, not everything's gonna be catered to every player every month.
And they can't they financially just can't put out
all these big titles so often and so much. And you're also
makes no sense.
They're making these deals with these other companies, and basically, hey, we're gonna put your game for free for a certain percentage of that. Like you're only gonna get so much back in return investment value. Right. Hopefully you're okay with that. So
and
there's a lot to take there.
Drawn to Death is only, and if you don't have, you can't play it if you don't have PS Plus, but for those who do, when it does get off of the free thing, it's only $16, and it's like a really, really comparable competitive shooter. It's super fun. I mean, the monsters are ridiculous. The only thing I do have a problem with is that some of the dialogue and some of the themes feel like the broiest shit you can think of. It's like I'm about to go drink a beer and fuck some girls and stuff. You know what I mean? It feels like. Did you ever play Brutal Legend?
Yeah.
It feels like Brutal Legend, like that dialogue.
Have you played Broforce?
I haven't.
Oh man, that's an experience and a half. We'll get into that today.
I'll have to do that at some point. But okay, let's hop into the news.
The news segments. Okay.
Talk a little bit about this very foreboding message that we got from the Persona team.
Oh right.
One person in particular, I can't remember his name. I might not. Mateo has linked me on it. It's from Atlas's website. Basically, it says you can stream or post content up to a certain point in the game.
July 7th is the calendar date for Persona 5 as far as how far you're allowed to stream or post things. And I believe that they're going to, as the weeks progress, they're going to kind of dwindle down on that, you know, but they are threatening to ban accounts, to take other measures to prevent that, preventative action, of course.
And they did something really, really, I think, really shitty. And they turned off the
share system.
The share system from the PlayStation. That's so, like, I don't know, that's so demeaning to people who stream very humbly, like don't have a lot of like equipment like you have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like professional people have. Where like me, I mean I stream directly through the PlayStation UI, and it's just because I can't afford all that other stuff,
which is difficult. It's not really fair to everybody as a whole. Who have to sort of take these take other measures and whatnot in order to.
It's expensive.
It is. It's very expensive.
And I think that was kind of a pretty big fuck you to the community
as a whole.
I mean, I haven't talked to anybody who like is on board with this, who thinks it's a good idea. Honestly,
it's pretty much unanimous that everyone hates it, and that there's no real, there's nothing truly helpful or beneficial to it.
And it really, really gives us like a really blind view from Atlas on the internet, because do they really think that they're going to come out with a threat to people for like copyright stuff and expect the community not to spoil it for everybody just because they can as like a fuck you to them? Of course, I'm trying to like a little bit of me wants to play Persona 5. Like a little bit of me is still interested, and I like really don't want it to get spoiled. You know how anal I am about anything getting spoiled.
Yeah.
I just like I'm trying to avoid stuff. I know Jay was talking about earlier. Our friend Jay is like really into Persona, and he's playing it. He's like, I can't get on any of the forums now. I have to avoid the internet just because I don't want anybody to spoil it, because I know they will.
So backlashy with it. That's what they're doing.
And he's like an internet king. He knows.
He's seen it. He's
seen it all, man. He's a fucking meme lord.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not a freaking troll, or not a troll, like an internet troll. That's what I meant. Like as in, I don't live on the internet. I don't hunt down on these forums or these boards. I don't look at this stuff. But like, it's pretty obvious. If you're gonna get spoiled, it's gonna be mostly your own fault, in the sense that anyone who wants to be spoiled will be spoiled. Anyone who doesn't will take the right precautions towards approaching sources of information and avoid details. And that's the problem with Atlas's approach to the whole thing, is that they're stoking a fire, you know?
Right.
Like you hear Iggy's not happy with it.
Iggy's not happy with it. I mean, I don't know if they can hear him, but he's barking. He's upset.
Yeah, he's clearly
But
upset.
see, like, I hated, like, I read the message and it sounded really like, haha, like we're all buds here, like I'm talking to you guys like I'm a fellow gamer. But then in all caps, like in parentheses, he's like, do not post this content, you have been warned, or something like that. I was like, Jesus Christ, like
that was his persona, you know.
Oh shit. Anyway, I mean, it presents this new idea that I hope other companies don't follow suit with.
Yeah, and that's been and I've seen that too. I've seen debate. There's been a lot of companies have been backing Atlas on this. They think it's a good idea to kind of limit that sort of approach to games and new games. I also can sympathize with Atlas in the understanding as to why they're doing this, just because they put years of development time to this. They definitely fine-tuned it to near perfection. You saw the scores, the Metacritic scores hovering in the 90s easily, you know. What is it, 90, 93, 94 right now, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't want the game to be ruined to people. That's literally all it is. It's from the bottom of their hearts, good intentions.
I get that, but
dumb approach.
Everybody gets it. Everyone knows why. No one is questioning the intent. It's more so a lack of connection to the community. I think it's this kind of like, it's just, it sucks that a company is telling people what to do is kind of the point of the backlash, I think. And like streamers, like big time streamers, it basically means that they're not going to be able to play this game, because like a big part of, as I know that streamers are really, really dedicated to spending a lot of time playing games, and like they have to do it while streaming, or else, you know, they don't make the money.
They don't do the things. And it's difficult to expect a streamer to like not play something for 100 hours on
It's
camera.
100 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, like the main quest is 100 hours. You can't. It's hard to expect a stream, like you're saying, a streamer to not do that.
Yeah,
It's
like off stream essentially is what they're asking you to do.
Yeah,
and it's like, bro, I only have so much time in the day
right.
in order to play things, to begin with.
It's very silly.
Yeah,
I don't like it, and I think it's just, I don't know. Like here's another example. Last Guardian is one that they spent many years fine tuning and getting more so, I'd say, than Persona. I mean, no, Persona 4 came out on the PS2. I can't remember what year. It's around the same.
2006, I believe. 2006,
okay,
something like that.
When did Shadow come out?
Shadow
of the Colossus.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus was I think a 2005 game.
Okay. Well, I mean, comparable. The same kind of
Small Dominator is saying
amount of
2007 to 08 was Persona 4.
Okay.
So I'm a little off there. But yeah, and I believe Shadow was like a 04, 05 kind of thing.
Right. And no one from Sony, no one from Team Eco or whatever they're called now, I can't remember. Gen Design, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
No one from their team was saying, don't spoil this for people. People are really into this. Just don't do it. And that game is like 12 hours long. Like there was
very short.
And people were streaming it all the time.
Yeah, they didn't.
It's a story, but it's just a story.
And the funny thing with that too is a lot of people who, like, when I streamed it, when I was playing it, not a lot. That's when I was much smaller. But a couple of people who hung out and watched that stream were like, "Oh, I want to play this now." Like they wanted to enjoy. They wanted to get into the adventure.
That's a big part of it too. People want to see the game. People want to go on they
want to
feel
enticed to actually want to purchase.
Exactly. It comes down to that a lot of people that are watching this are like I know a lot of people. My friend Vicky Reagan. They don't have the time to really play games. Or get it, or like don't really want to,
but they want to experience it somehow.
Yeah, they just want to see the story. That's how Reagan experienced The Last of Us.
Oh, that's a yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just like rude to take it away from people like that, and
who don't have the time of day or can't, and but still want to support the series and the franchise. Any kind of publicity in that kind of regard is useful.
And that's the thing. It's crazy because that's free marketing for them. That is literally free marketing for people to go on there, play the games, and people go on and check it out. Hey, I want to play this game now. I'm sorry. I'm just very passionate about this.
It's actually good that you have those kind of like strong feelings about it.
Yeah,
I think you're in the same majority too, as well as like all these other people, all these other streamers. And the gaming community as a whole. Like no one really likes this sort of like strong sort of whip crackling on the fan base. Like, hey, don't take it past 7-7.
Yeah. It's like it's like Krispy Kreme coming out with a new donut, and they're like, "Hey, you can buy this donut. Don't share it though. You can't share it. You can't let anybody try this new flavor. It's delicious.
Don't you dare break it
It's
apart.
really good, but you'll spoil it for somebody if they don't get the whole thing."
That's true.
Anyway, moving on from this. Talking another news story, we're talking about updates on these games. EA just updated Mass Effect Andromeda. I think a big reason was due to backlash on the game that they put out such a big. They reconstructed the facial animations, made them a little bit prettier, and they also allowed you to skip a cutscene because when you move from a planet to another planet in the game. There's this really, really long cutscene of just like space and stuff and you moving toward that planet. And it's really boring and you have to do it every time. And you have to change planets a lot.
Oh, okay. So it's like the load screens in Bloodborne.
Yeah, basically.
That was my feeling on that.
Oh my God. That was so bad. Remember that?
Yeah. You'd be sitting there for like 2 minutes straight, just like, oh my God.
I remember my first death in that game was to the Cleric Beast. And I sat there. I was like, all right, is this game working? I popped it out, put it back in, died again to the Cleric Beast. Same shit.
Oh my God.
It was terrifying.
And you're just like waiting. You don't want to die at that point because you just don't want to fucking wait.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Making it more hardcore. But also, recently, Square Enix put out an update for Final Fantasy 15. They fixed up Chapter 13, which was
horrendous.
I had never played it. I never got up to that point.
And you're lucky. It is. Well, that's the funny thing, because I remember reaching Chapter 13 or reaching near Chapter 13. I think I was like Chapter 11 or 12. At that point, I was like, I just want to beat this game now. I spent way too much time running around like the mainlands on Chapter 3, when you're allowed to.
Right.
And just slowly did things and side quests in that area. And then I was like, I want to just beat this story now. I just want to get through. So I remember reaching.
That's never a good place to be in a game, honestly. That was the thing, like Mass Effect. It got me to that point where, like, when I was like, oh shit, I'm ending this game now. Yeah. Like, I've been playing this for almost 20 hours. You should just never feel like it's a chore.
That's true. I can understand. Yeah, and Final Fantasy, and it's my own fault, like I said, because I think I was just spending like 20-something, 30-something hours just running around, doing things, having fun with the environments. And it's fun, but then I realized I was so far behind everyone else on the story missions, and I was just like, I just need to grind through this. And I remember getting to like Chapter 11 or 12 and being like, how many chapters are in this game? I Googled it to see the number, and I was like, oh, of course, cheeky 15 chapters. Oh.
Yeah.
But then I got into Chapter 13, and it was the slowest progression in the world. I remember being like at 13, starting it, and be like, okay, I'm really close to the end now.
I'm getting there, yeah.
Like another like 2-3 hours of like straight up gameplay time, like grinding through, and I'll be able to reach the end.
Because that's how short the chapters are normally.
Yeah. And nope, 13 is just like snail pace, and it's just
snail pace. I like it. I'm gonna every time I say snail pace now, I'm gonna say it like that.
I almost agree with you, Cannibal, with saying that most games feel like chores now. I don't think like every game feels like chore, but they do try to extend games to the
That's
points.
the thing. There's a big kind of overlying theme with games now where people feel like you need to have like an open world game. That was my problem with Horizon, honestly, is like there was a good story being told there. The gameplay is fucking fantastic. I don't want it to be open world. I just want to be told a good story. And
I think, the problem there when it comes to Horizon, because as far as I understand, and you told me, everyone MDRM just dropped the game.
We did. I don't know why.
Everyone seemed to like lose hope, or rather the ambition to play it.
Everybody like that I'm hearing on like podcasts and all these reviewers fucking love it. Say it's like one of the best games on the system. And like that makes me want to finish it, but at the same time, like the open world aspect of it makes me feel like it's a chore.
Yeah, precisely.
And that's how quickly I'll drop a game.
You have to go around, adventure, find everything, look up all the locations, like get the map filled out, and I think that if I guess the best way to put it is that I'm trying to level appropriately for the quest lines in general, and I've been doing a lot of the side stuff. Right. I think that's what happened to you too. You said you wanted to venture into the game. You wanted to do like everything possible.
I did, and well, that was because I had this preconceived idea, like this is gonna be the best game, like on the fucking system, no doubt. Like from all the trailers, all the hype, all the everything, it looks like such a fascinating world. But when I actually got into the nitty gritty, it was kind of like the side quests were really like the characters were really lame. There was just not a lot of like fun in the game. I thought, like as far as the there's not a lot of charm.
I get what you're saying, yeah, especially with the characters, because everyone important, or I thought was going to be important, is kind of gone within the first few hours, and then
there's not a lot of colorful characters.
Yeah, everyone's very, like you said, kind of vanilla, kind of straightforward, like a plain sheet, like a character sheet, like mark this. Right.
You have to get this guy here. I gotcha. Yeah, and that's kind of how it felt. I could be very, very wrong. Like I want to finish it at some point, but I just like it's funny saying this, but Mass Effect took me away from it.
Which that's something that's to be said, though, that there's two different aspects of open world style games, and one had the better approach to it potentially.
For me, it's totally person to person, and that's kind of what happened. We have strayed very far from the subject. I'm just thinking now.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
we have a discussion also as well.
Chill cast. Anyway, see, that's the thing. I feel like a world has to like an open world game has to convince me to stay. Like Skyrim convinced me to stay. Fallout 3 convinced me to stay. I know those are two very similar games.
Yeah.
But Mass Effect enticed me to stay. Dark Souls convinced me to stay. It just like it requires some charm, something very unique to it for me to keep wanting to explore. And that was the thing. Horizon looks beautiful. and the gameplay is smooth as fuck.
Crispy. Yeah.
Crispy cream.
Oh, geez. Like fresh
like
out the oven, you know?
Like a crunch bar. You know what I mean? And that's kind of why I want to get back to just play more of the game. But the world itself just wasn't really pulling me in.
No, I can agree with that, and I that's my same issue overall with the title as a whole. Is that I also didn't feel that sort of. At first, I did because it had a very strong story, and then it became quest heavy story, not so much proper delivery.
It's like go here, talk to this guy, go here, talk to this guy. You know, and
that started losing me there.
That. But a game that is like a game to me that convinces the rest of, or games honestly that should convince developers that not everything needs to be open world is Uncharted and The Last of Us,
which are games that have these open world-esque ideas, as far as the idea being like exploration. It wants you to explore,
go get some collectibles and stuff, but really it is a very linear, straightforward experience.
That's what I mean. That like The Last of Us, I'm sure there'd be 1,500 people begging you to, I want to explore this, like this, lost world essentially with the infected all around. I would want this to be an open world experience, and Naughty Dog's like, nah,
we want to give you a story,
a straightforward story. Yes.
Right.
Same thing with Indiana Jones style Uncharted, where I'm sure people would beg for it, and that's why they have Just Cause. They can go play that if they need to, which is a good example of a game that does it right. But there is room still in the world for nice, straightforward single player adventure games. There's still room for that linearized experience that has just enough of like the curves and turns, to make it feel like it's not just one path.
See, like some people are very much in this zone of like, I can just play a game and not really think about it. For me, it's like I have to be told a story. Like that was my thing with Mass Effect. That's why it kept me, is because the characters were fucking awesome. Yeah, all of the characters on the crew, I wanted to play their story quests.
So would you say, in your opinion, that do you agree with the score that it's gotten so far? Like, do you agree with the 7 and 8s out of 10s, or do you think it deserves more praise?
More on the lower 8 side.
So it has issues.
It has issues. Yeah, it's not a perfect game, and it's like, would I ever venture to say it's in like my top 3, even top 5, top 10? Probably not. I've played better games, but like, there's something to be said about the game that's just fun, that you just like. It's not a masterpiece, but you just like it. That's one of those games for me, and I'm going to keep playing it because I like playing it. Anyway, back to the topic. Updates on these games. The question at hand that I guess I kind of have, and some of what I think Mateo wrote in here, is like, is it okay like to do this? Does this just give a free pass to developers to fuck up on their first try?
Ooh, that's actually a very, very good point and question, honestly.
Like Ocarina of Time came out. There's no patches.
Yeah.
There's no patches to fucking any of these old games except for like in the last gen.
I guess this has also been like somewhat debated just because there's been several titles in the past that have come out poorly executed. And they just patch throughout the months, and people start to sort of like, okay, they're fixing it, they're letting it go through, which in its own right has become sort of it's okay to give us a somewhat unfinished product as long as there's the promise of
that's what
updates.
Happened with 15, and that's what we're saying 15, is like 13 is apparently a completely different chapter now.
And this is the biggest thing. I guess there's two different worlds to this, where it shouldn't be okay. I think strongly and firmly that it's not technically an okay thing to do. We shouldn't be receiving products that are paid in full and then giving us the promise of it being fixed or released with free content, but then getting watered down content or things that we weren't necessarily hoping for in the right regards. So, like, I'm going to go back in time and we're going to look at Battlefield 4 as an example. A game that should have been monumentally perfect as far as terms of what it was trying to deliver and do, because Battlefield 3 was actually a pretty decent game, but then we had Battlefield 4, which had network issues throughout the waters, terrible rubber banding issues, a lot of broken mechanics, things like that. And it became kind of brushed under the rug because it was so poorly received over time, even though they try to fix it. And then we're going to take another game within the same regards, Rainbow Six Siege, which another game that had some problems initially, but over the course of 6 months, they fixed those issues as well. Wasn't unfinished, but it just had a lot of poor connectivity issues and things as such, you know? But people liked it now. People now enjoy that game. They now greatly receive it and still play it highly, you know?
Right.
So there's a lot of different variations of this sort of mentality as whether or not it's okay to give us these kind of games. But then we look at like Star Wars Battlefront and people just like to shit all over that for the same reasons.
Well, I mean, I'll shit all over Battlefront all day because I was so fucking mad about that. It's just like that's a total case of it, is that they had an unfinished game that they wanted to release right before The Force Awakens because it was riding that hype train like a month before, and they were like, I'm sure Disney was putting the pressure on because they were like, we need to get this Battlefront money. Because that's $60 a piece. There are so many people that are so into Battlefront. I'm one of them. I put Battlefront 2 on my God tier list even.
You did, that's true, and which is fair.
One of my favorite games of all time. Then they put out this shit, and then they're just like, okay, well, we'll make it complete if you spend another $50
and
on the
like,
season
that's
pass.
Horseshit. See, I guess that's where like it becomes a huge debate whether it's okay or not, whether you're going to fix your game,
right,
or you're going to charge more to fix your game.
Right. Here's the antithesis of it: Overwatch. Like, even though I'm not a big Overwatch guy, and I don't think you are really either.
It's a good game, but I just haven't, dabbled too much into it.
But I am not going to sit here and deny the quality of the game. I think it is a very polished game, came out with a lot of content, and they've just been releasing free stuff. They release free stuff. They do release paid stuff.
That's true, though. You're right, because a lot of the content that they have released has been free. I think the difference there is that they hope that you buy the in-game loot,
right?
Like the crates and stuff.
I'm
like
sure,
that,
but like Blizzard has learned at this point over years of doing patch updates and doing like extra stuff for World of Warcraft and for Diablo, that they need to like please the people to keep them playing. Nick, for example, is back playing World of Warcraft. He's been playing it for fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
Years.
And I guess that's the biggest thing with that is, no, that's true, because Blizzard definitely gave a highly polished, highly fine-tuned product with very little imperfections. And then we're going to take another online competitive game like For Honor, which is now, oh my god, blasted through the rug because everyone just hates it now. Really? The community has turned so far against it.
So sour against it? Why?
Yep.
I haven't been keeping up.
Lobby issues, connectivity issues like always, no dedicated servers. The host-to-host thing hasn't been working out too well because like the load screens can be horrendous, especially if you're trying to switch from one lobby to another, or if you enter a lobby and not enough players fill it, it'll exit you out, and that's a whole another 2 to 3 minutes you're going to wait before you can actually get back into a game, into a lobby properly. So that and imbalances in the character and the rosters. They found 2 characters in specific to be so overpowered and broken if you're able to perform good combo trains with them, to the point that I think one of them, which is the Peacekeeper, for example, is banned from For Honor competitions.
Why? They shouldn't have these issues.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Things are so unbalanced.
But that's the problem. That there's your example. Overwatch, that was almost unanimously agreed that the game was almost perfectly balanced, aside from a couple
when it first came out. Yeah,
when people actually learn how to play the characters correctly, and now we've gotten to this point with For Honor where people have learned how to play these characters correctly and are breaking the game due to it. If you have the Warden, you can do this sort of warp into your enemy flash attack almost, where it's like a vortex and it just pulls you in, and you just do like left hit, right hit, warp, left hit, right hit, warp, and if you don't know how to block it, if you don't know what's coming, you're done. Yeah, that's it.
See, it's that type of stuff that like there's no way. I think in Overwatch, for example, just to keep it going, to like the way you win those games is to just get better at it. Just do it, not in that way just abuse something.
Yeah, which was the thing. And same thing with when Overwatch first came out, everyone thought that Bastion was like the top tier character because he can do the turret thing and just mow down people, until players realized, oh wait, he can only shoot like in this certain degree of angles, I just have to roll around. And it's like, oh yes, because balances, and there's characters who can warp and fast fast forward and grappling hook away and out of the sight and over and blah blah. The point is, people learned, and it was understood that like these characters, they had maneuvers around other characters. Maneuvers around other characters, and were able to actually play correctly and competitively against each other.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for Mass Effect, that's a smaller thing, I think, and I also have a soft spot for it right now. But with Final Fantasy, I think them changing Chapter 13 is kind of lame, because it was very obvious that Square was like, okay, we've waited like 10 years for this game to come out, so you need to put it out like this day.
Yeah.
And we've pushed it back enough, and they were like, well, you put our director onto another thing. You gave us a new director. What do you expect from us? And they're like, well, no, just keep it the same.
Keep going.
Because it's so obvious that the first half of the game was Tetsuya Nomura.
Or enough of it was Tetsuya. And my whole big thing with it is I think what they honestly did was they worked so much on the game's environment as a whole, like the open world aspect of it, and did like the dungeons and all those things. They worked on the gameplay so much that when they were doing the story mode, they probably had to rush the fuck out of it.
Right.
Like the first 2 years of development for it was straight up like making the environments work correctly, the physics correctly, putting the
it's
enemies.
A beautiful looking game.
It's
the open world is beautiful and great. I mean, there's so many like awesome creature designs and cool dungeons to do, stuff like that. But like
the story, I swear to God,
story's really weak.
They went into it and they were like, okay, we have plot beats here, guys. We got stories here. All right, the CG team's over here. They're doing their thing. They've been making this a side art thing. Now we just have to put it in the game's regards and aspects and in the areas where we need to. And they did, and that's why like a lot of the sequenced areas, like if you go into some of like the in the early on entry when you're going to the military bases of the whatever they're called, what were they called?
What do you
Niflheim.
mean?
Niflheim. Yeah,
Niflheim.
You can see that they were environments like instances completely separate from the game where you're running around this almost square of an area and it's completely non-existent to the rest of the open world, and it feels super fucking tacked on. It looks empty, it feels empty, they look like half-assed, and that's where I like realized like, oh, they made the environment, they made the open world as beautiful as they could. They really put a lot of time and attention to that and the enemies, but like as far as the story goes and the beats,
some of the dialogue in that game is so atrocious, dude. Like, and there are so many points that I was like, am I stupid or is this game just being told poorly? Because like I remember
really
thanks dog, but like there was that part where that one girl villain came in out of nowhere after you just talked to some other dude from Niflheim, and like, what the
and
fuck
you're all
is this?
Hanging in this
and
little
like
square,
you know each other somehow, and then she starts fighting you, and like I don't know. I just thought the game was kind of a mess, and that's why I put it down. And I've gotten a lot of shit, and I know Mateo is like, it's a good game, man. I'll vouch for it any day.
It's a great game. It's just the story is.
No, you're saying it's a great game.
It is a great game. It is. It's a great game as far as how they did the actual like open environment fighting monsters combat stuff.
Right.
Just a terrible storyline with a terrible approach to how they delivered it, with a terrible path for it too. Like I don't know, it just all feels really tacked on, poorly written, poorly executed, poorly delivered.
All of the characters in that game are like very characterized versions of like what they're trying to be.
Yeah,
like very like archetypal. Like Noctis is the bad boy,
brooding, sad bad guy.
Like they doesn't really own up to his royal blood, and then you have fucking Ignis, who's
as like prompt and serious as possible with a nice exotic flair.
Just found a new recipe.
Oh yeah.
And just going down the list, they are just the stereotype version
with my big old pecs and like
my nipples out.
We gotta be together.
Look at my fucking mullet. This is my mullet hardcore, guys. I thought it was not very well balanced, and then they come in and they're like, hey, but like now it's better. So here's another reason to play our game.
They fixed one part of it to say it was better. One little part.
Right.
Which is
Well, I mean,
arguably the most important chapter, because that's when like the whole story just like shifts
fucks, yeah.
motions and goes all around and loops.
See, that's like the point is like, case in point, Mateo is like considering playing the whole game again just because of that one chapter changed. I mean, I guess it's like it's okay to a point if you're gonna do like in Mass Effect, their character animations were bad, so they went and fixed some of them. I feel like in this day and age, it's okay, but all in all, I don't know if I really agree with the philosophy that you can just change a game to make it better if it's not like wonderfully received when it first comes out.
Yeah, I think because the problem is if we could have done that in the PS2 era or any era beforehand, I'm sure we would have, you know.
Right.
It's such a new thing, and I don't know, it's not okay. It shouldn't be ever okay. Like we should receive good products with the intention of possibly improving them slowly over time if they can, if they want to, if there's things, updates, fixes. Andromeda is a good idea or a good way to approach it, because I'm sure they tried to give a highly polished, highly delivered game. It's just, you know, the bugs were bound to happen in such an open world environment.
Dude, and that's the thing. That's where people are way too harsh on Andromeda, I tell you. Like, that game is fucking huge. There are, like, I want to say 20 planets or so. All of them having a huge open world, all of them having like a ton of side quests to do, and like different like things to get involved with, different like colonies to settle, different characters to get close with. It's huge. You could spend like hundreds of hours in that game and not see the same thing twice.
And everyone just gets so wrapped up in the facial animations.
I don't know. It's
the
like
combat looked great. Like I said, I was watching Carl play it earlier, and it looked good.
The story's really cool, and like it's very like I get it. Like people feel like, you know, with Mass Effect, it's like the original stories are amazing. Like you can't touch them and stuff. This game is like not as big. It's not as big, but it's like a really good sci-fi story. Very well told. But like with their patches, back on the subject, I think it's okay, because like with this example, just because it's fixing one visual thing. With Final Fantasy, I feel like changing an entire part of the story and the gameplay seems a little hacky.
Too much.
To me.
Yeah.
Like they should have just gotten it right the first time, spent a little bit more time on the game. Yeah, I know people were very antsy for 15 to come out, but I feel like if they had just given it another few months.
I would like, that's the thing. I wanted, like any Final Fantasy game, I want story. That's my biggest thing. And I'm a fan who walked away somewhat disappointed because I didn't get the story I needed. Right. I didn't get the big, dark, brooding, coin of light and dark. I didn't get that sort of ambiguous ideology of, right and wrong, like which was what I was originally promised, because the concepts were so heavy with life and death and the original idea, with Tetsuya Nomura.
13. Yeah.
And this was to be a lot of middle ground with that. Like, same thing with Dark Souls, where everything's just kind of ambiguous the entire time, where you're not really sure what you're doing is right or wrong. And it's the same concept where that's what Tetsuya wanted to deliver with Versus 13.
It seems like 15 is just very much like, here are the good guys and here are the bad guys.
And that's the Final Fantasy that you guys wanted, right? Yeah. And it's not the Final Fantasy I wanted.
It's Versus 13, I promise.
I promise you. Noctis is the same look.
Look at it.
He's still got the Sasuke hair.
Got the Luna Freya girl. It's not the same, but she's there.
We're going to get rid of her in 5 minutes, but don't worry,
But as a closing topic, because I don't think we're going to end up getting into Metacritic today, because it's just the two of us. We did it the one time we were here before.
Yeah.
But then, let's just talk about one more thing. By the way, if anybody is in the chat, is anybody in the viewership on the Twitch?
There's been a few hopping in and out throughout the session as a whole.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out. This is a new thing we're trying. Again, this is our games show. We're just talking about games right now. This is a very loosey goosey episode. Normally we're a bit more structured, talk about more topical things.
Yeah. Quick shout out though. I will give a shout out, of course. Once again, Smile and Dominator. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you.
Owen, thank you, dude, once again for hanging out in here. Sorry, guys, to any of my frequent viewers if I'm not able to directly talk to you guys today. Of course, that's because this is the game show. talking to Tyler specifically. If you guys have any questions, we will throw this in the last few minutes of the podcast session as a whole.
Seriously, please leave us some feedback. We want to see if this is something to venture more into in the future.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I was talking to Mateo about it. He's like, yeah, maybe we should just keep doing this. So yeah, it's great. Please leave us some feedback.
Oh, and of course, you too, Cannibal. Sorry, I forgot that you're now a mod. Congratulations on becoming a mod in my channel. Thank you for being such an awesome dude. And can't wait to play more Division with you later throughout the week.
So, leading into our final topic, the kind of big news of the week is that Xbox released their new information about Scorpio, and it literally told us like nothing. Because it sounds good. It sounds like this thing is basically a PC.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of this, the new consoles, they're basically running off of computer architecture, you know?
But this, like, I don't know. They talked about the teraflops. The fuck is a teraflop? That's what I want to know.
I think computer experts, or I don't want to say computer nerds. I don't want to go that far, you know?
But I'm sure the PC community is like, oh my god, like this is actually
really
impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, after this news, I'm starting to feel like Scorpio's not a whole new thing.
Well, let's look into the details real quick again, just to make sure we can. The other day, I did see a comparison between PS4 Pro and the Scorpio. They did do a side-by-side specs comparison, and it is stronger. I mean,
I don't know. My PS4 Pro is beautiful.
No, it is. That's the thing. The PS4 Pro is a great system still, but that's what we have to also remember. We're taking a console that we already think is a very strong concept,
right, and
they are technically releasing something that is better than that.
Yeah.
So we do have the 8-core 2x3 or 2.3 gigahertz processors. PS4 Pro has a 8-core as well, but it's 2.1 gigahertz, so it's slightly stronger. It's not the biggest thing. It's not the biggest change. We're going to take the RAM. They're giving us 12 gigabytes of DDR5. You know, I think the PS4 Pro also has the same RAM overall, so that's not any different. Still on the DDR5. I think the standard PS4 is still on 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
The bandwidth speed is 326 gigabytes per second. That's an increase from PS4 Pro, not by much. I think it's like only by 50 or 60. Which sounds like a huge difference, but
it's not
technically speaking, it's not going to be a make or break thing. The big difference overall, I think, is the UHD Blu-ray player that it's going to have automatically.
Oh yeah,
that is going to be a bit of a game changer as they kind of progress forward into that. You know,
see, I think it like when they come out with it, it's going to be like this is just another Xbox One, but
slightly better, stronger,
better stuff, and our games are going to be better on it, and. Definitely, like 100%, they have to like in E3 because that's going to be their make or break thing for Scorpio. I think they're going to have to release new Xbox exclusives.
Yeah, if they don't release exclusives, they're going to be dead in the water all over again.
Or like even like deals with new games coming out. But like because this past like year or so. Sony has been, really over the whole generation, Sony's been fucking killing it with all of their exclusives.
With deals, with partnerships.
Yeah,
they've been winning this war very, very strongly.
And they already have that deal with Destiny 2, which is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
They already have the deal where you can get DLC first on PS4, which is crazy.
Like we heard with Destiny 2, did we talk about that last week? I don't remember. The Destiny 2 thing where basically Destiny 2 is going to have exclusive content for like upwards of 6 months to a year.
Damn.
Before Xbox even gets to kiss it.
Well, because from what I understand, Destiny like really didn't do that well on
Xbox.
On the original Xbox.
Yeah.
Or no, the original.
original.
The original, yeah.
2001.
I tried to pop it in. It just wouldn't go, man. That's on the developer, right? No, but on the Xbox One or the 360, because it came out for both.
Yeah.
I don't think it did very well. And so they're kind of just giving a big thumbs up to Sony for, giving them all of the support and like to their fans. But yeah, on the PS4 we have Bloodborne, we have Persona 5, we have Horizon Zero Dawn, huge titles. Huge. Huge. That are.
Don't even like forget about all the indies that we get too.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, they have like Ori and the Blind Forest. They have a couple things that are nice, but at the end of the day, I think PS4 is one super supportive of exclusives. I mean, The Witness.
Oh man,
talk about that right now. You know? Journey, you know?
Are you kidding me?
I know, right?
Dude, PlayStation is just like where it's at to be a gamer, and that's what then that was their driving point.
Yeah.
When they delivered it like after when they announced it is like they were like PS4 is going to be the place to play games.
Yeah.
Don't worry
and
about this other stuff.
Fucking is.
It is,
I mean?
and it's awesome.
And Xbox was like, this is the place to watch your football on your cable TV. That's going to hook into it.
Okay, never mind. I have my TV for that though, and my cable. Okay, but like. Yeah, I really got. I mean, you know, I've been hearing a lot of like stuff like maybe they're going to announce Halo 6 or something. I really think that Xbox has to break the mold on this. If they want the Scorpio to be successful, they got to come out with
something brand new.
Yeah.
Like you know, even though what was it called, Scalebound. Scalebound. There we go. Yeah. Scalebound.
That's such a shame
that it got canceled.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest thing that like. Even if it wasn't going to be like a huge renovation or a revelation to the gaming market and community, it was still something that was going to be new.
Yeah. I thought about like when I saw that game and I saw this stuff, I was like, oh, maybe I should get an Xbox One for it, honestly, because it looked great. But it's, I don't know. They just don't have anymore the same eye for like, this is the type of stuff that's going to be successful. Like, I don't know. Sony is just taking a lot of risks.
They are.
Last Guardian too. Like,
oh yeah,
are you kidding me? They put in so much money for that game.
And I mean, it took a while for the payoff, but I think it still paid off to some extent.
I mean,
even if it helped the lineage.
The thing is, it didn't blow up the market. But for the people that were waiting for it, and it came out, and it was only on PlayStation, all that, like the other games before it, like they're catering to their audience. They know who they're playing to
and who they want to support, and who's going to keep them alive in the long run. And getting
Neo as well.
Yeah,
Nier Automata. All these games are just like, these are things that are not going to be, they're not going to set the world on fire with how popular and how much they sell, but our fans are going to dig the shit out of it, and they're going to keep buying our consoles.
Exactly, precisely. You know, and there's a lot to be said there too, as far as all those games that you just said, Nier Automata, which you can get on PC, but Last Guardian, which is completely Sony exclusive, PS4 exclusive. There's a lot of games that just aren't making it to Xbox. Right. Even if it's not touching, even if it's being shared with PC players, even if it's still going online to those other markets, Xbox is still drowning. They're not getting enough. They're not making enough deals with these companies to make these games available across all major platforms.
Dude, and it was so smart of them to get Neo as one of their
exclusives
because like
another big underground game. And that's the thing. That's what it kind of has going for it. Even though I'm sure they would want Team Ninja would have wanted like bigger success with like letting it push out sales.
Right.
They want that sort of like cult mentality.
People love Demon Souls and it's only on PlayStation. People love Bloodborne and it's only on PlayStation. So they were like, all right, well, we got to take this community and we got to make it ours. And I think they really did.
Yeah, they definitely poached a large amount of that community.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of excited for the next game that's coming out like that. I can't remember what it's called right now.
Is it that one, the space one?
Yeah, the robotic Dark Souls lookalike.
It looks cool. Is it only on PlayStation?
No, it is actually on all consoles. All right. We'll see if they get a little success out of that. But we'll see. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, an example. I work in a store that sells games. And when Final Fantasy came out, all of our copies of 15 were off the shelf
for PS4.
We still have for PS4. Yeah. We still have 5 copies of it
on Xbox
out of 7 copies we got for the Xbox. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, all those PS4 copies were like out the door like the day of.
And that's where Xbox kind of fucked up on this generation. On the 360, they knew bro shooters, that's going to be like, that's our market. And that's what was popular at the time. Like, with their Halos, people are fucking playing. What are you laughing at?
I just got to comment on something real quick. I remember seeing a Facebook post a while back where a guy got like an Xbox One for his birthday. I think some kind of like anniversary from his wife, and was super excited because he got Xbox One and Gears of War. He was like, dude, I have the best wife in the world, blah, 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 super, super excited and happy. Anyone going to be on later tonight? Like, add me, like a month and a half later, it's like selling my Xbox One with Gears of War. Anyone interested?
Oh,
just like.
Was
oh
this a
my
real
God.
thing?
It was,
Like
no,
that-
it was a real thing.
Oh my
yeah.
God! It wasn't a meme.
No, it was not a meme. It
Oh
was
my
a
God.
legitimate like Facebook post that I just remembered and then saw like a month and a half later, maybe 2 months, and I'm just like, oh my God.
And like that's the thing. That's the thing that sucks is that the Xbox One is not a bad console.
It's not.
It's 100% not bad. They just didn't keep up with it. They didn't look at the fact that the gamers are growing up. They want a bigger story. They don't want to just hop on. They're not hanging out with their high school buddies anymore, eating Doritos and drinking Game Fuel.
It's true.
To play Halo.
Because now what those people that community, the community that they want to grab again, we were the generation for Xbox 360.
Yeah.
We were the kids who were, playing those bro shooters, playing Modern Warfare 2 together.
Oh yeah,
online.
I was definitely in that.
Yeah. And now those kids have now switched over to PCs.
Right.
A lot of them now have, PCs and they go online in those markets, that's where they kind of foster. That is now that generation's Xbox 360 just because PC has grown so popular.
Yeah.
And PS4 is now the console for our generation,
right,
where we're very invested in console gaming, where we're still invested in those sort of single player experiences as a whole.
Yeah.
Not sure where the market's going to go next. We're not, it's going to, there's a lot of risks and factors and all that. But the point is, Xbox One, they cannot survive simply on the bro shooter mentality.
No.
They can't survive off of that sort of co-op heavy, play style because that's moved on to different grounds.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, like, they put out Titanfall, the first one, and it's kind of a bro shooter in a way. It's a little bit more deep, but it's still like it was when it first came out, only a competitive shooter.
Yeah.
It tanked, dude. It
so hard.
did not do well. Titanfall 2 comes out with like an actually really good campaign and story, and it sells better on the PS4.
It sold better. It was smart of them to open up the rights to that because they wanted it to succeed.
Yeah.
Sadly, it was, overshadowed by Battlefield 1.
It was bogged down by that.
Yeah, super hard.
But for those who found it and those who like were really into it, it was like one of the best, first-person shooters that they had played in a while. That's what I keep reading.
Yeah.
I bought it. I want to play it. But yeah, I mean, I like moving forward into E3. I think that while it'd be good, it'll be the 10th anniversary of Halo Combat Evolved. And it'll be cool. I'm sure not Combat Evolved. I'm so sorry. It has been way more than 10 years since Combat Evolved, since Halo 3. And they're definitely going to do like a full, I know they did the Master Chief Collection, but they're like going to do a full remaster and like probably announce a Halo 6
as the next thing. I think they're going to wait before they do a full remaster. I believe just because we just got Halo 5. Not, well, you didn't just get it, but I mean, like,
we got it in October of 2015.
That's the start of the newest chapter as a whole,
Yeah.
So it'd be really weird if they had the Halo 1 remaster, then they had the Master Chief Collection, then 5. It'd be stupid to give us all the games again on the same generation, practically.
Right.
I don't think they'll do that right away. I think if anything, they'll just kind of port the collection over to Scorpio.
Yeah.
Slightly more updated, if that, or just let that game naturally run as a whole a little bit better.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Any comments you want to say, Bird?
My goal is to poop in every bathroom in your house.
Cool.
Wonderful.
However, yeah, I mean, I think that they like while it'll be smart to put out more Halo stuff, they've been doing Halo since the first Xbox. They need to come out with like a Horizon for Xbox, like something that's gonna like fucking sell the console.
Yeah.
Last question before we wrap it up, because I think we are coming on. Let's see what
a little over an hour.
A little over an hour. How much do you think that the Scorpio is going to cost?
Oh, that's actually a good question. So PS4 came out at about $400, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Originally,
the Pro came
Xbox
out
One at
$400.
$400 as well.
Yep.
Was it? I thought it was $350 for a second. They did take a larger loss on Xbox One. I remember that they did take a larger loss. I think that they're going to try to stick around the $400 asking price. Just because the technology is better overall. If we take the generational leap as far as when PS4 and Xbox One originally came out to now, it's about the same kind of growth rate. So I'm thinking 400 is probably going to be the safe number if they don't want to lose out too much cost wise. but a part of me thinks that they're going to really try to steal the market. They really want to try to underhand Sony with this and steal the crowd back, and they might go for like a 350 kind of starting figure and hope to sell hardware, like beg the community to just like buy our games.
Right. They want their good graces back because they owned last generation. 360 was on top.
It was.
PS3 was too expensive.
And so, yeah.
There was not enough
16.
drawing people to it. I mean, there was a lot of great exclusives, but they were like really niche stuff like now, but people are more into it now.
Yeah.
I think that because this is going to be expensive hardware that they're going to have to do, I think we're looking at 450, 500.
5. I think if they do 5, they're killing themselves. Like they're straight up
Probably
shooting
are.
themselves in the foot.
Probably are. But I could see it personally. I mean, from the way Xbox has been trending with the way the Xbox One has sold, I could see it. I could see it. But, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see as it progresses.
And I'm gonna try and let Scorpio sell me.
You're gonna give it the benefits of the doubt?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I would buy it, but if they come out with like, here's an exclusive, here's how much better it looks than the Pro, here's an exclusive, you know what I mean? Like if they just rapid fire great stuff, which they need to do. I mean, here's the thing with the price too. Switch just came out. I mean, and it was $300.
That's true. Yeah.
So they have to stay in like a competitive market here. I guess I don't think Nintendo and Xbox and Sony all try to compete against each other. Mm-hmm. It's more Sony and Xbox.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all that we really had to talk about today. Thank you to all those in the stream for hanging out with us and listening to all the nonsense that we have to say, talking about manure and shit.
Manure and stuff.
Check us out on moderndayrenaissancemen.com. You can find me on Twitter at TylerDill_ and Alejandro at
Magenkai_.
Magenkai_. You can find the whole Modern Day Renaissance Men troop on Twitter at Modern Day Ren Men, Instagram Modern Day Ren Men, Facebook Modern Day Renaissance Men. A lot of whole different stuff to go check us out on.
The whole works.
Also, definitely, if you're watching on stream, thank you again, and go check out our YouTube. We'll just look us up, MDRM Games or something like that, and you got a whole slew of content to look at, and we're coming out with a whole bunch of new stuff all the time. So,
precisely. Yeah,
thank you very much,
guys.